In the end, said Martin Luther King, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. The freedom can be taken away when people say, okay, they're having their freedoms taken away, but it doesn't affect me, so that's fine. Oh, and they're having their freedoms taken away, but I don't like them, and I don't agree with what they said anyway, so that's fine. And eventually knock on the door. We're going to take your freedoms away now. Oh, you can't take mine. Oh, yes, we can. What was that saying? Pastor Niemöller after the Second World War in Germany. First they came for the Jews, and I was not a Jew, so I did nothing. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I was not a trade unionist, so I did nothing. Then they came for the communists, and I was not a communist, so I did nothing. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. And that's what's happening now. Oh yes, let's turn attention against the Muslims. Let's turn attention against these people, and these people, and these people. Let's pick them off, and then we'll come for you. Unity is what will bring this to an end. Not looking the other way, because it doesn't affect us in the moment. It will affect us eventually if we do that. But what is there to fear about them? Nothing. What is there to fear about authority? Nothing. We are consciousness. All that is, has been, and ever will be. There is nothing to fear. Whatever happens, we are always that. Mind fears, because it's programmed to fear. When we're conscious, there's no fear in this. It's a shake of the head. We need to do this. Compliance. We need to challenge that. Not with violence, not even with aggression. We just need not to fight it. We need to walk away. Because without our acquiescence, it cannot survive. You know, when you look at a pyramid, we've been manipulated to believe the power in a pyramid is at the top. It ain't. The top of the pyramid is there because the rest of the pyramid's holding it up. We're holding this whole thing together. Do you remember that movie, animated movie, A Bug's Life? A Bug's Life with the grasshoppers? And what happened was...
Guys, order another round, because we're staying here! Yeah! What was I thinking going back to Aunt Icke? I mean, we just got here, and we have more than enough food to get us through the winter, right? Why go back?
But there was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss, they're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?
Quite the motivational speaker, isn't he?
Let's ride!
There was these ants and Ant Island, as they called it, and these grasshoppers used to come every year and take all the food, and the ants had to spend the whole year gathering the food together for the grasshoppers because they were terrified of the grasshoppers. And there weren't many of these grasshoppers, and one day they're in their winter quarters in a tree, these grasshoppers, and they've got all the food they need, and someone suggested among the rank and file grasshoppers that they didn't need to go to Ant Island this year because they had all the food they needed. And then out came the leader of the grasshoppers to tell them the facts of life when the few are going to control the many. It's a wonderful speech. If you ever can see that movie, A Bug's Life, I do recommend it. And he said, basically, They outnumber us 100 to 1. And if ever they figure that out, there goes our way of life. So we have to keep the pressure on, basically. We have to keep them working, so they don't figure out where the real power is. And that's why this network of manipulation works so hard to keep us in these states. Like I said earlier, what are people leaving foreclosed homes for? Foreclosed by banks that have caused the unemployment that lead to them having to leave their homes. Stay there, refuse to leave, make it difficult for them. Expose them for what they are. We make it so easy, the non-compliance. No longer will we just do it because we're told to do it. Is it just? Is it right? Okay, I'll do it. Is it unjust? Is it not right? I ain't doing it. We start to make the decisions on what we will and will not do based on our values and not some imposition from the dark suits. These people are gonna give me, grant me, or grant me not my freedom. I'm all that is. You can't grant me freedom. No one can grant me freedom. I am freedom. It's what I am.
This rhetorical question is perhaps self-answering. A protest called Occupy Wall Street, trying to underscore and gum up the financial industry's influence on who's rich and who's not. Why wouldn't that get extensive news coverage? It started Saturday when about 1,000 people marched into New York's financial district to express their anger over how the financial system treats the majority of Americans, what they call the 99%ers, and to draw attention to the misdeeds of Wall Street. They have been confronted with an ever-increasing police presence, which is blocking certain streets and attempting to keep protesters away from the stock exchange itself. While the protesters are peaceful, tensions are beginning to rise. According to the group's own website, 7 protesters were arrested yesterday, with 4 more being arrested today.
Meanwhile, also from New York, the largest anti-Wall Street rally since the credit crunch happened yesterday.
Protesters at an ongoing mass demonstration in New York in the biggest event yet in the 3-week-long rally called Occupy Wall Street.
There is volatility on Wall Street today. Protesters are descending on Lower Manhattan for a demonstration called Occupy Wall Street. It's organized by the hacker group known as Anonymous.
This is the beginning of one of the biggest political realignments in modern Western history. I believe it's the beginning of the Second American Revolution. The answer to 1984 is 1776.
We're going to see it in Portugal. We already see it in Latvia, the Ukraine, in Hungary, in Ireland. It's going global. There's no stopping it.
Is it that time when our Bill of Rights is defiled every day? When our adventures abroad threaten our security at home? When the Federal Reserve keeps our free nation enslaved by debt? When the people of the world tremble under the thumb of corporate imperialism? And now, our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time?
These different protests need to just come together and realize they're protesting against the same force and the same agenda. And it's an agenda for the centralization of power in every area of our lives. The World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, all these things are just pawns and creations of these bloodlines to control from the center, to create a situation where no one has independence of maneuver in their own sphere of influence or community. It's about cross-matching dependency, so this can't operate without dependency on that, and that can't operate without dependency on that. Dependence. Dependence equals control. Independence equals choice equals freedom. That's why they want to take independence away. That's what globalization is. That's why they move jobs from one country into another country and move other jobs over here, and they move this over there. It's making everyone dependent on everyone else. Free trade, love it. Wouldn't it be great if we had free trade? Free trade, freedom to exploit trade, that's what it should be called. It allows transnational corporations to make things in sweatshops in one part of the world in horrendous conditions on horrendous wages, and then ship them across, no border taxes increasingly because it's globalization and it's free trade, and then they sell them to people with the money, and they make on both ends of the deal. That's what free trade is. We don't have capitalism. Anti-capitalist. I'm not anti-capitalist. We don't have capitalism. We have cartelism. That's what we have. And then you hear, to a certain extent, the anti-globalization movement. It says, no, there's no conspiracy. It's just big, bad, greedy corporations. Yeah, controlled by the same people. The corporations are not the origin of globalization. They are the vehicle for it. I was kind of waking up one day, and I saw this earth imprisoned, and I saw this big lock and a key going in and being turned. I went on the internet just very shortly afterwards. I was looking for a picture, not this one, and that's what I saw. The picture I'd just seen in my half kind of sleep. And that's what we're being offered the chance to do now, to turn the master key called becoming conscious that will bring an end to this. It's being given to us. We just need to take it. And to take it, we need to say enough. Enough of being enslaved by these people. Enough of being enslaved by our manipulated ignorance. Enough of being enslaved by the fear of being who we are. Enough. It is time to fly. It is time to fly. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.